Sports on Tap Detroit, brought to you by the Realtors of the Joe Wright Group, Jason Stiltner of Flagstar Bank, Aldman Entertainment.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
We are tonight's entertainment.
We're here to fuck shit up.
Sports the way it should be. Nothing sugar-coated, with loaded with all the information you wanted. From legends to prospects, nothing's off limits. Chris and Joe be taking on all topics with no stopping. They keep it going and going and ball hopping at a rate that's hard stopping with news and straws dropping. They're getting it in. Sports Center competition, man, they in it to win. This ain't a fluke from Carolina to Duke, from MSU to Michigan. You'll know if you listening, if you ain't, you missing it. All the excitement, they shock like a thundercloud and ride with lightning. Get it together, you know ain't nobody better. Bring heat than cold weather. You better put on a sweater, you better just let it go and all come and attack. Sit back, relax, let's tell them it's on tap.
We'll do it live. Fuck it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
If you smell what
The dude.
is cooking.
I wanted this job bad.
And I am a motivational speaker.
All right, here's what I know.
Yeah,
This community is strong. This place has been kicked, it's been battered, it's been bruised.
we just might blow the whole planet up, you know.
I can sit up here and give you coach speak all day long. None of that matters, and you guys don't want to hear it anyway.
I'm sick and tired of living in a van down by the river.
Here's what I do know. You've had enough of that shit.
Yeah,
This city's been down, and it found a way to get up. We're going to kick you in the teeth.
well, you know me, Gene, we really don't know what we're dealing with here, man.
All right, and when you punch us back, we're going to smile at you, and when you knock us down,
Grab the stick and twist it.
we're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off.
Twist is good.
All right, and we're going to stand up, and then it's going to take 2 more shots to knock us down.
Reckless abandon.
All right, and on the way up, we're going to take your other kneecap,
I didn't blame anyone for the loss of my legs.
and we're going to get up, and then it's going to take 3 shots to get us down.
I don't give a rat's behind.
And when we do, we're going to take another hunk out of you.
I'll bite your legs off. We're gonna wrestle around.
Before long, we're going to be the last one standing.
You're not going to amount to jack squat. Yeah.
I'm the dude.
If you're a homeowner or looking to be a first-time home buyer, give Jason Stiltner, Senior Loan Officer at Flagstar Bank, a call today at 248-752-3631. Jason has great mortgage programs for first-time home buyers, including down payment assistance options and excellent interest rates. Again, give my guy, Jason Stiltner from Flagstar Bank, a call today at 248-752-3631 and get the excellent service you deserve. Flagstar Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC, NMLS number 27546.
It's not his fault he can't read.
Fucking ladies and gentlemen.
If you smell what
The dude.
Oh, my bad. And with that being said, all that being said, welcome to episode 133 of Sports on Tap Detroit. I am Chris Scott, alongside Joe Waddell and Frank Chigata. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
Oh, fantastic. I'm so much better now.
How's your holidays? Good? Good stuff? Good Christmases,
Yeah.
everyone?
It was
Yeah?
fine.
Can't complain. It was good.
I'm happy to hear that.
Time with family, and now it's over.
Yeah?
And can't say I'm disappointed that it's over either. So
No, neither can I. I'm glad it's over. It's too much. You know, past 2 days, been in the house with just screaming hyenas of children, and it's just like, all right, enough. No, enough. Like, I just couldn't handle it, man. I'm like, all right, I gotta get out of here.
I sat at home in peace and quiet today, and I was like, this is so much better
Like, I
than
was
what
at-
I dealt with the last 2 days.
Like, I was at work today. I'm like, oh my god, this is actually better than having to deal with screaming, hyenas of children, man. It's crazy. However, it's
sadly, I can't say that about my job. I feel like I would rather deal with screaming hyena children.
I'm not going to call your daughter a hyena, but you're used to dealing with children.
Yes, and my daughter
Not
is
so
actually
much.
well behaved, and so is my niece. So they're not really screaming hyenas,
Right.
But I guess I would take the screaming hyena children over a lot of the people at my workplace.
I think it's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. I can certainly understand.
I would sign up for a week of that.
I don't
Like,
know,
where's
man.
the sign up list? Sign me up now.
I had about 4 hours of it, and I was like, "This, I'm over this. I'm done with it."
Yeah, that's pretty much how that went too. Just like, okay, man, like I'm done here. Like let's go. We got to get out of here. But so you guys had a good Christmas. I had a good Christmas, and the Detroit Lions had a good Christmas. Congratulations on winning the division. Something that Joe and I said was going to happen because it was gift wrap for them. They should have won the division.
We kind of talked about it before the season,
Yes.
right? They needed to win the division this year. This was the year for them to win it. They were favored to win it.
They were absolutely favored to win it. It
no-
was set up for them to win it.
I mean, I wouldn't.
For the most part, yes, it was.
I mean,
I'll say two things about this, though.
yeah.
Like, the game this past weekend against Minnesota, does it worry you, Frank, as a Lions fan, at all that they struggled that much against a team led by Nick Mullins, who might be the worst quarterback in NFL history?
No.
Okay.
Mainly
And-
because I expected it.
Fair enough.
Like, I'm not going to say it shouldn't worry the team, because it absolutely should worry the team. You're going to get torched come playoff time against a real
kind of what
quarterback.
I'm saying, yeah.
But myself personally, no, I totally expected that to happen.
Okay. And the second thought I had on this is if Kirk Cousins stays healthy, does that even happen?
No.
Yes. The Lions still win the division if Kirk Cousins
think
is
so?
healthy. Yeah.
Okay. Now, why do they still win the division if Kirk Cousins stays healthy?
Because Kirk Cousins throws as many interceptions as Nick Mullins does. So, I mean,
You don't think he's a better quarterback than Nick Mullins?
well, it wasn't Nick Mullins the whole time. They had,
But it was.
I'm
saying if you had a healthy Kirk Cousins over Dobbs
well,
or Mullins.
Dobbs came in and won a couple games for him and looked pretty damn good. No, I think Minnesota's still the same team.
Okay.
With Kirk Cousins back there. I maybe slightly better team. Their defense really picked up the second half of the season is really where they came through.
Okay.
So, I mean, no, I think Detroit still wins the division. Maybe they don't win it yesterday or this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they win it next weekend, but I still think Detroit wins the division.
And why do you think they lose it?
After watching the way Minnesota played, not so much before Cousins got hurt, but after Cousins getting hurt, I think they got lucky with a lot of those Dobbs games just because people didn't know how to game plan for whatever he was going to do.
Okay.
And then once Mullins took over, they've still had competitive games.
Okay.
I think Cousins pushes them over that hump and turns them into winning games rather than just competitive games where they lost.
Okay. I mean, I can see the argument for both. I can. I tend to lead towards Frank's point of view on this, but they did it. They got it done.
I mean, right now the Lions are 4 games better than them.
Right.
Does Kirk Cousins make up for 4 games? I'm sorry, I don't think Kirk Cousins makes up for 4 games.
If Josh Dobbs can win 3, then yes, Kirk Cousins can make up 4.
I completely disagree. We called them frauds last year, and all of a sudden this year they're going to win the division because Kirk Cousins stays healthy. I mean, I just don't see it. I don't see them being 4 games better with Kirk Cousins in there. I just don't.
Okay.
I mean, we sit here on the show and bash Kirk Cousins constantly, and all of a sudden now he's going to win the division because
But we praise him when he
would've
does
been healthy?
well. We do.
Okay.
Do we not?
This show pretty much bashes Kirk Cousins nonstop. Oh, Kirk Cousins doing Kirk Cousins things, same as we do for Derek Carr.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah, when Derek Carr goes Derek.
But I mean, like,
It's the most exciting thing in our text thread is when Derek Carr goes Derek Carr.
right. But then he doesn't do any non-Derek Carr things. You know what I'm saying?
No, he always does Derek Carr things.
Like he'll do like a Derek Carr going Derek Carr. Then that's it. Like that. You can see like Kirk Cousins going Kirk Cousins, but then he does something un-Kirk Cousins. You know?
I mean, you look at Derek Carr this past week. They play Los Angeles. He just completely ignores Kamara in the passing game.
Right.
It's like, why would you do that? He's literally your number one receiver on the year when Olave's not been healthy. When Olave's been healthy, it's been him. But even over Michael Thomas, who finally got healthy for a portion of this year.
Wait, he was healthy?
For a portion of it. You've used Kamara.
I was going to say, let me preface the fact that I don't dislike Kirk Cousins. I think Kirk Cousins, and goddamn Windows Update, I swear to Christ.
Every time,
Jesus.
man.
It's the only thing that would end up being funnier than what you did to start the show
Oh,
is a
it's-
Windows update happening in the middle of it.
Just pops up. We got a Windows Update for you. Great, thanks.
It's every Tuesday.
Fuck
man.
off.
Yeah.
I've said it before. I think Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback. I don't think he's a bad quarterback. I don't think he's a great quarterback. He's middle of the road, good quarterback. He's a starter in the league.
What do we say? Who's Matt Stafford like in that realm?
Matt Stafford light.
Okay.
He's a good quarterback that makes bad decisions sometimes.
Right, which is what Matt Stafford was for a long time, right?
Yeah.
So maybe even still is. But again, I think losing Justin Jefferson for the time they lost him was more of a detriment to that team than losing Kirk Cousins, because Dobbs did come in and caught teams off guard and won games. Those were games that Kirk Cousins might have won as well. So I don't think you take as much away from that team when you take away Kirk Cousins with Josh Dobbs coming in playing so well like he did for a few games in a row. We won 3 straight, I believe. So I take those as ones Kirk Cousins would have won as well. So I kind of put them maybe 1 or 2 games better, not 4. Okay. I think Justin Jefferson going down, if he doesn't go down and Kirk Cousins doesn't go down, maybe we're talking something different, because Minnesota's defense actually came to play finally. If they have a defense that plays with both those guys healthy, maybe we're having a different conversation.
Okay.
So, like, obviously they go into Minnesota and they win that game. And if Cousins was playing, I think Minnesota wins that game this past weekend. I do. And then you got the Lions have to go to Dallas, right? Mm-hmm. And who do the Vikings have next week or this coming week? Does anybody know?
I can look right now. Minnesota has the Packers in Minnesota.
Okay. So theoretically, like, the final game of the season could have come down to Detroit or Minnesota going to Detroit.
I said that.
Yeah.
I said that a quarter of the way through the year.
Right. So I think it's closer than you're like kind of making it out to be a little bit, but with the Cousins things. But either way, I can see both sides of the argument. I get it.
Yeah, like I said, at this point they're 4 games better than them.
Right.
Having beat them. So if they don't beat them, they're 3 games better than them.
Right.
I just don't see that big of a gap.
Okay.
Myself, but
that's fair. Yeah, I can certainly understand that. So, anyways, congratulations to the Lions. You finally won a division after 30 years. Amazing. Congratulations.
I love how even your compliments towards the team are backhanded.
Hang your banner. That's great, even though you shouldn't hang banners for division championships. I think it's lame. Hang banners for actual championships, legitimate ones. Unlike the stupid Lakers who hung a banner for their dumb fucking in-season tournament.
For the in-season tournament winners?
I know that's where this was going.
Well, you got to make, like, comparisons to it.
Right. No,
like,
I know.
Stupid banners. It's like, okay.
As soon as you said stupid banners, I was like, he's bringing up the Lakers.
Oh, yeah. Because it's lame.
Possibly the dumbest banner.
That is possibly the dumbest banner ever hung. I will say
there's a lot of dumb banners hung, but yeah, that's in the conversation for sure.
To me, it's hard to beat that one. Like an in-season tournament. I know the NBA wants to make a thing out of it, but an in-season you hang a banner for an in-season tournament? Really? Fucking stupid.
Like literally a tournament that was like literally made up.
It was created for LeBron James.
Yes. And I'm sorry, all you broadsexuals, that doesn't count as a 5th ring. Stop it.
Well, it doesn't count as anything.
Well, if you take away the Mickey Mouse ring.
Oh, the one in the bubble? See, it's hard to say that because do you take away Tampa Bay Stanley Cup in the bubble?
I'm just dogging LeBron James.
I know, I get it, but I think it's a legitimate conversation. Do you take away Tampa Bay Stanley Cup from the bubble?
I think you have to take those championships with
like an asterisk.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
A little bit.
I think they were all playing on a level playing field at that point. Everybody was facing the same crowd.
I've heard from a lot of guys who played in both bubbles, and this is why I do put an asterisk next to both of them, is because there's a lot of guys that didn't want to fucking be there. They didn't want to be there. So I don't think you got everybody's best effort. I really don't.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I give both of those asterisks. I'm sorry. I have to, because that's not how the playoffs are supposed to work. And
I mean, in the end, it's a championship. It's great.
It is.
It's in the books.
It is, and I'm glad they did it because it gave us sports back.
I agree.
And
to me, even though I didn't watch the NBA, I didn't give a shit. But,
right.
But I think it's personal thoughts on whether you would say there's an asterisk to that or not, and it depends on what side you fall on. And if you fall on, well, like Frank said, and that's a good point. I mean, everybody was there. Everybody had the same level playing field. But I tend to side more on your side is there was a lot of guys that did not want to be there, that desire to be there, that were just not in it to win it.
They were just kind of like, just give me
the fuck out of here.
Get me out of here. Like, I don't want anything to do with this.
They were there because they were obligated to be there, not because they wanted to be.
Exactly.
Right.
So yeah, I do take both of those kind of, okay, yeah, you got your ring, great, but it's like, or you got your Stanley Cup, it's like,
And I will say, I do respect the players who at least showed up, more than I respect the players who opted out of the situation.
Absolutely.
Like, you have an obligation, you have a contract. If that's going to be a playing year, you're essentially obligated to do it.
Yeah.
Back to the Lions, though, I just want to say, not a backhanded compliment at all. That when I played at the beginning of the show for Dan Campbell was played. I play it because it's funny.
Oh yeah,
and because
it'll never not be funny.
It'll never not be funny. This time I played it with a little bit of respect because he got them to win the division. Man, I mean,
that guy accomplished something.
He did.
For as big of a joke as he was when it started, and we all agreed on that. It was fucking terrifying that guy was going to be a head coach.
And I saw a tweet earlier today about that. Like, all you people that dogged him from the jump. Yeah, he deserved to be dogged from the jump.
Well, and I'm not going to not dog him still.
Right.
He's accomplished something. I give him some respect for that. I still you can tell me I'm wrong or not, and I really don't give a shit. You guys know that, but I still think it's Brad Holmes that holds the most responsibility for that team winning.
It's hard to disagree with that.
He's built a roster that you can't really fuck up.
Right.
I mean, he's put together his draft picks that he's put together in the last 3 years are unmatched by any other franchise, really, honestly. As far as the amount of players you have out of those drafts still playing on your team as starters on your team, it's
literally the complete opposite of that franchise for the past 2 decades?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's literally the opposite.
And I'm not saying Dan Campbell didn't have anything to do with it. I'm just saying I still hold Brad Holmes in a higher regard. Respect to Dan Campbell. He got the job done. I still think he's a little bit of a clown. But at least when I played that today, it was with a little bit of respect.
Right.
Yeah.
For accomplishing what he accomplished with the Detroit.
I mean, in the argument with Brad Holmes, he literally drafted 3 home runs this past draft. And when's the last time they had 3 home runs collectively? 20 years?
Yeah.
It's hard to argue that point.
I mean, the Sam Laporta draft pick this year is looking like a genius fucking move, honestly.
Yeah, it is, absolutely.
I mean,
he's arguably the best tight end in football.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd say that worked.
Yeah.
that absolutely worked. And the guy the guy you traded out of town just blew out his knee.
Against you.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Minnesota fans are complaining that was dirty. They were going after his knee the whole game. There's a lot of entertaining shit on the Lions Twitter about that. I was informed.
I was like during that game. I'm obviously I was going on Twitter just reading the comments and I'm just laughing at both sides.
Right.
I'm like, dude, Lions fans. First of all, shut the fuck up. You haven't won shit in 30 years. Like, stop.
And even this,
don't act like you've been good for 30 years. You haven't been good for 30 years.
You've not even
been good for like 5 minutes.
You haven't even been good for 30 games.
Right, exactly. So, like, you guys want to talk shit? That's just absurd to me. Like, knock it off. And then Vikings fans, saying, "Oh, it's the refs and blah blah blah." It's like, stop, man. They're better than you. They are better than you. I'm sorry, they are better. And that's all there is to it. No, there was no, that they weren't trying to injure you guys or anything like that. That's not how this worked out. Just like I said, frankly, you had Nick Mullins as your fucking quarterback, who fucking sucks. He's arguably the worst quarterback I've ever seen.
And he threw for 411 yards.
Which is amazing to me. How the hell he fucking did that?
Which goes back to what I've said the entire year. Your defense is garbage.
Like, I look at that dude whenever he got, like, any sort of pressure on him. And it looked like his brain just froze. Like, he just froze. Like, he didn't know what to do. He's like, shit.
I make fun of Goff for doing the same thing, but at least he doesn't get pressured like Mullins was getting pressured yesterday.
It's
or
like,
2 days ago.
Like, dude, like, run. Like, get out of the pocket and run. Or throw it in the 5th row. Something. You can't just sit there and get blasted.
Stephen John says, "Go Lions."
Nathan Peterman is the worst quarterback you've ever seen. He's in that conversation. I can't disagree with that. He's absolutely in that conversation.
I have to side with you on this one. I've seen Nick Mullins do some okay things.
I can't.
Nathan Peterman. I mean, Peterman.
Jay Peterman.
Yeah, I would side with you on this one.
Yeah, he's in the conversation for sure.
I think Peterman. He didn't even deserve to be in the league.
No.
Mullins has at least shown he can make a throw or here or there. You know what I mean?
I said I'll put either one of them. I mean,
yeah.
They're both trash.
I'm not saying Mullins is good.
They're both trash. We'll leave it at that. But
yeah, one's just maybe a shinier turd than the other one. You know.
The other question I have is if Addison's in there, do the Lions even win that game? And not like the 1-catch, 2-yard Addison. I'm talking like him actually playing his game.
I mean, we've said this, time and time again. It's all this whole season. I think has been a lot about like what ifs with a lot of teams.
Yeah, I mean, you can always play the ifs and buts game. I mean, everyone has injuries. Everyone has shit they're dealing with as a team, and it just comes down. It really does. It just comes down to the results. And as odd as this year's been, and we talk about it every week almost, it's been a year where there's really nobody that truly stands out, right? I mean, even we talked about San Francisco. They were probably the best team in the league. Well,
not last night.
Baltimore just body bagged them.
Right. Yes, they did.
So is Baltimore the best team in the league? We've seen them look like shit.
And every time we've said X team is the best team in the league,
they lay an egg.
They get absolutely curb stomped by whomever they play that following week.
It's I don't know.
Holy shit! The Pistons are up 18-7.
They're still gonna lose,
dude. It's like
they're still
going
to
to
lose by double
the game.
They're gonna lose by double digits.
They'll still lose.
Yes. Sorry,
I might go make a live bet right now.
Right.
There's a 100% chance that if I bet the Pistons to win, they will lose.
Oh yeah, of course.
I'm going to go make a live bet for them to lose because I still think they're going to lose, even up by that much.
Oh, I see. Who is? Do you know who this is?
I think it's Andrew.
Is it Andrew?
Yeah.
Red Evil?
Yeah. Browns equals best team in the league.
Oh.
I disagree with that one.
I mean, they do have elite Joe Flacco,
who throws 3 interceptions per game, but they still find a way to win.
I think defensively they're definitely the best team in the league.
That's what keeps them in games. And the fact that Joe Flacco, even though he throws 2 or 3 picks a game, can then come through in the clutch and drive them down the field and score is a big deal.
Yeah.
That he's played well for him.
And come playoff time, if the defense can still play at the level they're playing,
which I don't see why they can't.
They've got a shot.
Defense wins championships. I've always believed that in pretty much every sport.
I mean, Flacco is game manager. It's kind of what he is,
and he's been more than that lately. Yeah. I'm very happy with what has transpired with him since he signed. I mean, the guy came from the couch to lead the Browns to the playoffs. So
I mean, it's a shame that you have a $230 million quarterback that next year you're gonna be like, oh, we have to play this guy because we're paying him so much fucking money.
Well, if it was my decision, you know damn well I wouldn't be playing him. I don't care how much fucking money you're paying him. Who gives you the best chance to win? And there's certain Cleveland Browns fans that still think the best chance to win is Deshaun Watson. And to that I say, when did you lose your eyesight?
No. Because if Joe Flacco's doing this with that team and Deshaun did that with this team, you wasted roughly about $234
one of these
million.
Things is not like the other.
Because you got one for like $75 right now.
And it makes a good point. He says, look at his utilization of Njoku. Imagine if they didn't waste their future on Deshaun.
Yeah. Something I said the minute they actually made that trade.
Yeah, but Deshaun had Njoku with like half a face. So
he had him before he had half a face?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fair.
I mean, and he played the game after he had half a face. I mean, it's not like he missed any time. Yeah. He was out there playing. But.
Yeah, but if you have half a face, it means you've got partial eyesight. Like, he burned the shit out of his face. He probably wasn't seeing clearly.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But, I mean, like I said, Andrew makes a good point. It's like, yeah, he's actually he's utilizing the tools that he has, unlike your $230 million quarterback who should be utilizing tools that he has. But
yep.
Unfortunately, he does not. So, or fortunately, depending on how you look at the situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting back to that Niners Ravens game last night, like we kind of, I mean, you had a setup, two of arguably the best teams in the league. Okay, looking forward to it. And so anybody could beat anybody, but I didn't see an ass kicking coming like that. I really didn't. Like could Baltimore walk in there and beat them? Absolutely they could, because that's a good football team. But I didn't see them just dummying them like they did, which was very surprising to me. And then you look at Brock Purdy just basically throwing his MVP candidacy in the trash.
Yep.
With you can't throw 4 picks, dude. You can't do that.
No.
So now, I mean, you look at the MVP candidacy, and I think it comes down to 2 guys. And Frank, you brought it up before the show that what Barry Sanders said this? Barry Sanders said I could see a split MVP like he had with Brett Favre, with McCaffrey and Lamar Jackson. I could absolutely see that happening.
Because we've been talking different quarterbacks every couple of weeks.
We have.
We were talking CJ.
Yep.
Then we were talking Brock. Now we're talking Lamar.
Yep.
All fair arguments, in my opinion. I do think Purdy was a fair argument based on the production that was coming out of him. But at the same time, McCaffrey's been what's led that entire offense.
Oh, absolutely. He's definitely been the catalyst for that offense. 100% he has. And even last night, he had a decent game last night. So he definitely wasn't the problem last night.
No.
Like, it was Brock Purdy whenever he got pressured, just making stupid throws.
Well, and once again, it goes back to that offensive line. Did you see when he started making bad throws and getting pressured? Trent Williams was out of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, Trent Williams gets hurt. That offensive line is completely different.
It's what happened in their 3-game stretch where they sucked.
Yeah. I mean, Williams goes down with an injury, and you're looking at that team a whole lot differently than you are with him in the game. Because at that point in time, you're not just weakening that position, you're weakening every position on that side of the line. Because he doesn't need anybody to help him double team a player. He's there. The other 2 guys can work on their own.
Right.
Trent Williams goes down. That whole offense is different.
And it also kills Debo's production because you're able to do certain things with Debo that you're not able to do with most wide receivers or just running backs. So when you take out a tackle that is Pro Bowl level, elite level, not even trying to be funny about the Joe Flacco thing, he is an elite tackle. Like, it changes up your entire offense. You guys are spot on with that.
Yeah, it's amazing how drastically it changes their offense when Trent Williams is not in there. Like, in that case, Trent Williams should be the MVP. You know what I mean? Because he has that much of an effect on that fucking team. You can see it. You saw it in the 3 games he was out. You saw it last night. I mean, it's nuts.
No, I would agree with that.
And then Eric says, Eric does chime in.
Oh, wow.
And he says, same Purdue choked, and then he says Purdy choked. And then
Purdue chokes every year in the NCAA
Purdue chokes too.
In the tournament every year. So.
Andrew just said we talk CMC and Lamar now. Next week we talk Tyreek and Tua after they go off on Ravens. This race is wide open.
I mean, that's kind of how this has gone.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is wide open to a certain extent compared to other years. I think right now Lamar Jackson is the clear front runner if you were to look at it realistically with the league and how they will vote. I think Lamar Jackson's the clear head and shoulders above everybody else, and then you got CMC close. The rest of them are all way far behind. I mean, I love Tyreek. I think Tyreek should be up there in the voting. He's not even going to be in the top 5. I'll be honest.
No, he got hurt at the wrong time. Like, that's what I think is going to take him out of that conversation. Is he got hurt? He's not been playing his best ball. If this happens in week 2. And he's healthy right now, and he's putting up 200 yards in a game, then we're having a different conversation about him. And Tua, the guy's shown out this year, no doubt, but he also has a ton of weapons around him.
Right.
So he's never going to get the respect for the MVP award when he has that many weapons around him.
And for me, I think if Tyreek doesn't get hurt, I have him up there. Right now, for me, it's a 3-person race. It's Lamar, McCaffrey, and Tua. It's a 3-person race, and it comes down to who's going to ball the fuck out in the last couple games.
Now,
truly.
Now, say hypothetically, the Bills win out. Do you put Josh Allen in that race?
No.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
I can't.
He's had a few really bad games.
He has. I don't disagree with that.
And he's had some games, like, what was it, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
96 yards, 97 yards, whatever it was. Like, they don't need him to perform at that level anymore for them to be competitive.
Right.
They have a full team that can do things.
Yeah, I think for me it comes down to just his turnover rate, man. Like, that's just you can't really get past that. I mean, turns the ball over a lot.
He does.
I mean,
I always wait for the obligatory turnover from him.
Well, he's second in the league in interceptions with 15.
Yeah.
The leader is Sam Howell with 17.
Ooh, I was going to go Derek Carr on that one.
Patrick Mahomes is right behind him with 14. Jalen Hurts 13.
I don't feel like that gets talked about enough with Mahomes.
Mahomes?
Yeah.
Mahomes is having a really fucking bad year.
He is. The whole team is having a bad year.
Andrew says, Andrew agrees with me. Too many turnovers.
No, I agree with
And
you.
then he says that the turnaround has been a change of offense mindset, which is exactly what we talked about.
Yeah.
About they needed to focus on the run game and develop the run game to take more pressure off of Josh Allen so he doesn't have to make those throws where he throws the obligatory expected pick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of what they've done in this turnaround. Exactly. But yeah, Patrick Mahomes, 14 interceptions this year, third in the league as far as most interceptions thrown, behind Josh Allen and Sam Howell.
And credit to your Raiders for going into Arrowhead and beating them.
No, the Raiders did not beat them.
Did you?
Kansas City lost that game.
How did Kansas City lose that game?
The fumble and the interception.
Hey, that sounds like good defense to me.
Literally the only thing that they got going.
I mean, granted, their offense was shit. I'm not going to
Yeah, I was
disagree
gonna
with that,
say,
but their defense played.
O'Connell had 62 yards.
Their defense played really well.
I love
Did it
Andrew's.
not?
I love Andrew's comment. 33% of Mahomes' picks are off of Tony's hands. Cadaverous.
Can we look into that stat? Make sure that's
Cadaverous
legitimate.
Tony.
It might be legitimate.
It might be legitimate. I don't know.
I was going to say, he knows weird shit like that, so
Hey,
it may be legit.
I honestly wouldn't doubt that. I really wouldn't.
But again, that just goes to show you, okay? Everyone was talking about Patrick Mahomes and how he could make any player good. Like, it was about him. It wasn't about Tyreek Hill. It wasn't about... Okay, you're seeing right now, they have a lack of offensive weapons on that team. Pacheco was down. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is not who people thought he was. They have no wide receivers on that team that can catch a fucking football without glue on their hands. I mean, Valdez-Scantling has stone hands. Cadaverous is just... That dude, I don't know if he needs glasses or what, but I don't think he can see the football when it comes at him.
And even Kelsey's been questionable.
Yeah, it's because he's got other things on his mind, man.
Well, yeah.
For real. I mean, I don't blame him for that, but
I mean, people are
is.
like, oh, it's the curse of Taylor Swift. I'm like, no, it's not. It's every defense saying, hey, we can like double team this guy or we can bracket coverage this guy because nobody else on our team can catch a fucking pass.
And Andrew just chimed in and said Rashee Rice. I've been talking his name up for weeks and weeks now.
From the receiving core?
He's by far the best receiver on that team, and they don't get him involved enough.
And that's sad when he is your best option.
Yeah, a rookie.
That's not good. That he is your best option.
And he's been playing really well. I don't want to take anything away from him, but when your rookie, who you didn't expect to get a ton of playing time this year, is the best receiver on your team that you need to get more involved, that's a fucking problem.
Yes, that is not an ideal situation that team is in.
Well, and Andrew says they didn't give him the snaps early. You know why? Because they were too set on Sky Moore being the fucking the man. They were set on him getting more snaps. Well, I mean, dude, at a certain point, you got to pivot.
Do you think
Pivot.
now, like another thing I don't think that gets talked about a lot is the switch in offensive coordinators with this team. Your boy is their offensive coordinator, who you love, Adam Nagy. Your boy,
Joe's favorite.
And it looks like just a completely different offense than when the enemy was there. Completely different.
Absolutely.
Now, is that because of the lack of weapons that they have, or that they don't have?
So, I mean, I would attribute it to both, but look at Philadelphia.
Oh, we'll get to
Okay.
that short. Yeah.
No, but so you look at them. They lost both their offensive and defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they look completely different.
Yes.
Completely.
And it basically looks like Jalen Hurts and the offensive coordinator are not on the same game plan ever.
No.
Did Patricia call plays this week too?
On defense, yes.
Yeah. That defense has looked drastically different the last 2 weeks, and I don't mean in a positive way. It looked bad before. It looks even worse now.
Well, and for me, I look at it as you cannot, like, that's going to take its toll. Like, I think when you make a seamless transition from losing your offensive coordinator or your defense coordinator, when you make a seamless transition, that says a lot about who is taking over that job, that they can make it look seamless, right? It shouldn't happen that way, and it doesn't happen that way. Like, if your offensive coordinator is that good, there will be a setback when you lose them, unless you have another guy there to take their spot. Philadelphia, you're seeing right now. Kansas City, you're seeing right now. There's a problem when you lose your offensive coordinator, and the quarterback and the new offensive coordinator are just not on the same page.
Right.
And it just looks off. It looks bad. Now, Kansas City has another problem. They don't have any fucking weapons. Philadelphia doesn't have that problem. They got plenty of fucking weapons.
And that's the interesting thing about their situation is they do have the weapons. They do have the talent to turn this around, to actually make it a functional offense.
Yes.
But you look at it, it's like they struggle to score points.
To me, I look at it, there's a lot of bad play calling with Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Seeing a couple of their games more in depth, looking at it, it's like they get into a rhythm, and all of a sudden there's just a couple of offensive play calls that get them right out of the rhythm. And it's like, wait, what are you doing? What is happening right now? What are you not seeing that we're seeing? Because there's so many weapons on that team, and they'll be moving the ball, and all of a sudden, a couple play calls in a row, you're like, what the fuck was that? What did that? You just completely derailed the entire offensive train.
Yep. And I think some of it has to do with what we've talked about for weeks now. I don't think Hurts is right.
I agree. I think there's a problem. And I think part of that we're seeing is the fact that he's not right and he's not on the same page with the offensive coordinator.
Yep.
I think some of what we're seeing is not necessarily the injury that we talked about. I think part of it might be that. But it might be the fact that he himself is in a disagreement with some of the play calling.
I think he is.
And he's not in a position to where they allow him to change the plays. So he's going out there basically just like, this fucking play isn't going to work.
Yeah, he's trying to do what he's told, but he knows it's not going to work.
Like, I'm actually surprised that if that is the case.
Now, I don't know whether that's the case for a fact.
If that is the case and he can't audible into a different play, like, what does that say about him?
I'm sure he can audible. I'm sure they give him a little leeway to audible into a different play. But it's how much leeway does he have? Can he completely change the play call when it comes in? And if he's in that much of a disagreement with the offensive coordinator, I mean, in that case, what are you going to do? Allow him to change the fucking play call every time it gets called in because he doesn't agree with he's just going to completely go, no, we're not running that. It's going to turn into a Varsity Blues type situation.
I mean, but if he can read a defense and he knows that play is not going to work against whatever defense that they're lining up in, change the play.
He can audible out of it into a different play in that set, right? But I think some of it is he's in a complete disagreement philosophy-wise with the offensive coordinator. I really do. I think that's off.
I look at him as a, quote, leader. He needs to change that.
And
then he needs to get on the same page with his OC then.
That's what I was going to say.
I mean, if your OC is making bad play calls,
yeah,
like how can you get on the same page when you completely disagree with what's being called?
Again, that's what you got to have the sit down. You're the franchise. They just gave you the bag, dude. You are the franchise. You're not going anywhere. OC can be gone tomorrow, as we've seen.
Yeah,
like that dude Hurts ain't going anywhere. So that's when you have that sit down with your OC. Listen, guy, this is what needs to happen here. This is what we need to do. This is what you need to do to be successful, for us to be successful, to put us in the best position to succeed.
I think something needs to happen there because that offense is completely off.
It is.
Andrew says, I would love to know the stats on how many times Hurts kept the ball on an option play this year compared to last year.
I don't know. That'd take a lot of looking into.
I'll be honest with you, I'm probably not going to look into that, but I mean, it would be an interesting stat.
It would be an interesting stat.
I feel like he's handed the ball off more this year than he has in past years.
And I think that goes to Frank's point that I don't think he's right, like physically.
Well, we've discussed that as well on multiple episodes. I think he's got a knee injury that is not, and he even so much admitted it a few weeks back. I think it was coming out of the bye week. So, I mean, I don't know. I think a lot goes into seeing these teams struggling that have new offensive coordinators. And then, of course, you get the Bills, who made a positive change at offensive coordinator.
And they did.
And because, again, that was a change needed to be made midseason, and then their offensive philosophy changed to match what needed to be done.
And then they go into San Diego, L.A., in a must-win game. And I know it's a trap game. I get it. And completely go away from that philosophy. Mm-hmm. It's like, what are you doing? It works, guys. It works. Like, you have arguably the best offensive line in football. You can run the ball. Run it.
Philly needs Matt Canada. Get the fuck out
of
here.
Yeah, there you go.
Good
That'll solve everything.
Trying to find these Hurts stats.
But, yeah, just watching that game, and as Lady Friend will tell you, I was less than thrilled at watching that game. I'm just sitting there almost perplexed watching it going, the hell are you guys doing?
What the fuck are you doing?
Exactly.
Well, I had told you right before the game.
Yeah.
Like, I had made a beautiful parlay that was setting up perfectly with the way they used them the week before.
Uh-huh.
And just got fucking roasted on it.
I texted you that first quarter. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't think you're hitting your parlay, dude. But we talked about it last week, going into this game, trap game. That's what what both of us were kind of afraid of, is that's how that game was going to look, and that they could possibly lose. And quite frankly, they should have fucking lost that game. They played like absolute dog shit.
We have a lady sighting on here. She says, can confirm.
Oh yeah. She was there watching it with. Even she was getting upset, which I actually appreciated. So, she was getting into the game too, going, "What the fuck are these guys doing?" It was great.
You know the best way to not get upset? When you're looking for a DJ, called Bald Man Entertainment.
Who?
Bald Man Entertainment.
Who?
Bald Man Entertainment. We all know planning events such as a wedding, birthday party, graduation party, or any other event that might require a DJ can be very hairy. Eliminate the stress and give Steve Waddell at Bald Man Entertainment a call today at 586-747-5402. He is the resident DJ for St. Hubert's Festival every year. If he is good enough for God, then he's good enough for you. Again, that's Bald Man Entertainment, 586-747-5402. The best decision you can make for a smooth event.
Very good. Nicely done.
Thank you.
See, I already did my read, so I don't have to do one.
But how are we supposed to know when to do ours then?
You can do it.
Because you tried to do yours twice last week, and that was the perfect cue for us to do ours.
That's fair. That's why I just did mine at the beginning of the show, so now I don't have to fucking worry about you stealing them.
But it was such a fun game.
It really was a fun game. And I think I just won it this week.
You did exactly what you said you were going to do.
You
told us last week we're going to start the show off with my
and I forgot. So I completely
forgot until he did it.
I was
as soon as he did it, I went, yep. He told us he was doing this.
I was thinking about it today at work. I'm like, I'm either going to do the read right from the jump, or I'm just going to stay silent and not say anything for 5 minutes, like that one show we did back in the day.
Over at the studio.
At the studio, yeah.
At Podcast Detroit.
Yeah. I was like, no, I'm just going to do the read.
We sat there for a solid 45 seconds and nobody said a word, and I was like, I'm freaking out right now. We have to say something.
The girl who was running the board, she's just looking at us going, what are you guys going to say anything?
I think she was more panicked than we were.
I think she was too.
She was like, are you guys going to fucking talk?
That was pretty funny. But yeah, so back to the Bills game really quick. I'm glad they got the win. Now they control their own destiny, and I'm happy about that. But they didn't look very good in the process of doing it against the Chargers. My credit to the Chargers, I thought they played pretty well. They gave Buffalo all they could handle. But again, they kind of went Chargers, and that's what bothers me the most about this game is if the Chargers didn't go Chargers, I think the Bills lose that game. On that last play, he had a clear path to the fucking end zone, and that comes down to the shitty special teams that Buffalo has had for years. Especially last year and this year. So I hope they get it cleaned up this coming week against New England. But, Belichick's going to put a tough defense out there. That's just what he does. So we'll see what comes of that. But
by the way, do you want to know who leads the league in yards per game?
Just total yards per game?
As a passing quarterback, sorry.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
As a quarterback, passing quarterback.
Is it Josh Allen?
Yards per game. Joe Flacco.
Is that right? Wow.
Elite.
He's elite, baby.
Passing yards per game, the leader is Joe. I'm just sitting over here looking at some of this stuff.
So
I'm like, all right, that's
So
dude, they got
Andrew's
off
not
his couch.
crazy.
he leads it. Well, I mean, he also has thrown 7 interceptions to his 10 touchdowns, but
But he's always been an interception machine.
his rating for the year is he's one spot away from Deshaun Watson. Watson has an 84.3 passer rating, and Joe Flacco has an 85.1 passer rating.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of these stats here, and that one just stood out to me as like, wow, holy shit, all right. 300. The closest guy to him is your boy Kirk Cousins at 291 yards per game.
Yeah.
Joe Flacco has thrown for 326.8 yards per game.
It's impressive.
Yes.
I like that. Good on you, Elite.
Elite Joe.
Elite Joe Flacco.
And then right behind them is Tua and C.J. Stroud, and then Brock Purdy.
Nice.
Oh, and then right after Brock Purdy, Nick Mullins.
Ooh. He's glorious. Glorious.
Nick Mullins in yards per game is ahead of Jared Goff.
And
Just
that's,
ahead of
that's
Jared.
another one, man. Get a helmet that fits, dude. Like, seriously.
He looks like the lineman from the
He
replacement.
does. Like, get a helmet that fits, man. It just squishes his face.
Oh man,
I digress. I would talk about like the Bengals Steelers game. Like 34 points from the Steelers. They actually look like a competent offense. I was very surprised by that.
Yeah, with Mason Rudolph.
With Mason
playing.
Rudolph. Of all
yeah,
people.
I never saw that one coming. That dude is talk about one of the worst quarterbacks in the league.
He does that every once in a while, though. He does have a tendency to have a decent game every now and then.
He's such a bad quarterback, but I mean, to his credit, he came through in this game.
Yeah, now if he does it again this week, then I'm going to question what the fuck is going on. But
Yeah,
he can have that one-off game where he actually looks competent.
Yes. And they did, and that kept their playoff hopes alive, and good for them. Bengals, that's a rough one for the Bengals, man. That's
yeah. I mean, they held their own destiny in their hands and just completely fucking let it fly out the window.
Was that the end of the Browning magic? The insanity.
He still threw for 335.
He did.
I mean, but how
But
many
his-
of those
but
were
his-
empty stats?
What's that?
How many of those were empty yards? Like we always said about Stat
That's
Patrick,
fair.
Well, so if you look at it as well, he had a 69 rating. He threw 335 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 picks, 28 of 42, 69 passer rating. Whereas Mason Rudolph's passer rating, he only threw 2 touchdowns and 290 yards, but his passer rating was 124. So I mean, like, there's other things that go into it, which is why I like some of those ratings, because they actually take everything into account as opposed to just the yards and the TDs. Well, it's like Joe Flacco. I mean, elite, yeah, okay. He's got an 85 rating in his 4 games. It's because he throws picks along with his touchdowns. Yeah, he's throwing for a bunch of yards and some touchdowns, but he's throwing a bunch of picks too. So, the only thing you have going in Joe Flacco's favor is the fact that he can dig them out of the hole that he helped dig in the first place by throwing interceptions.
I mean, it's kind of what we said about Stafford though for all those years. There's a lot of empty yards. It really was. Because they get down really early, and then he'd have to chuck the ball 85 times a game, and and it would obviously jack up his passing yardage stats. So I see 335, and while it looks impressive on a stat line, it's kind of like, well, when did those yards come, and like how did he get them?
And the question I have about Browning overall, because obviously you're not going to trade Joe. You just
no, God no, he's your franchise. You just get him the bag,
Is
dude.
Browning
No.
the quarterback who gets traded in the offseason to a team who's like, maybe we can do something with him instead of drafting a guy?
I don't think so.
No, he's a backup quarterback. Dude.
Yeah,
I
I think
he's
teams
not-
are going to
he's
look
not
at
starting.
him realistically and know that, okay, I mean, this guy, guys like Josh Dobbs, and he's a guy that can come in and do some things off the bench. Like, as a starter, he's had his chance. I mean, it's not like he's a real young guy that didn't have a shot. I mean, he had a shot with a couple other teams. Okay. He's a backup. And I think as good as he looked in a few games there, that can happen. It can happen to backups. They can come in and surprise some teams, right? Again, Josh Dobbs. Tyler Dobbs is not a starting quarterback in the NFL, but he surprised some teams and played really well. He had a desire to go out there and do the best he could and caught some teams off guard. You're going to get games like that. But over the long haul, I think NFL teams know that those guys are not the answer at starter.
Okay.
They might be the answer as your backup to win you a game or two if your starter gets knocked out. That could be the case. He might go somewhere and he might get more money to be a backup somewhere where they want to back up their starter and have a guy who can come in and win a couple games for him. But I think Cincinnati knows that he can do that too. So they might just keep paying money and keep him behind Burrow.
Okay.
In my humble opinion.
I mean, that's all I was asking for. So.
No, I say that, and Andrew says he'd like to see Rudolph Pickens do that against a competent defense, and I can't disagree with that because the Bengals' pass defense is bad. It's bad. Really bad. It's at the bottom of the league bad.
Yeah.
So I don't disagree with that, and I'm not saying none of us are saying that Mason Rudolph is the answer in Pittsburgh because he's not the answer in Pittsburgh.
Once again, that's been proven.
And George
over
Pickens,
time.
I'm surprised one of his teammates didn't beat the shit out of him for not blocking on that one play. He says, "I didn't want to get hurt."
That was the first thing I said to Andrew when I heard he threw the 90-yard pass to Pickens.
Yeah.
I was like, I hope nobody blocked for him.
Right?
Like that's all I cared about. Hopefully, no one blocked.
Yeah. I don't want to get hurt. All right, dude. I don't think it's going to go over very well in the locker room, but
no,
you do you.
There's been a lot of weird stuff with that team though that I don't
Which
think
is
a
weird
lot's
with a
going well
Tomlin
in that.
team. That's weird with a Tomlin team.
I think there's a lot that's not going right in that locker room right now.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with that. I mean, you don't see this stuff with the Steelers. Just that organization in general, you don't see that. But it's a different athletes now, man.
Yeah,
they can
they are.
get away with whatever the hell they want, and it's like, okay, you do you. But we got to move to this, Frank.
What do we got? Jags.
Dude.
Fucking Jags, man.
What the hell?
They're garbage. They're hot garbage right now.
Oh, man. I already sent you the text. I just said, Jags? You're like, fraudulent. Okay.
Like, the thing with the Jags is every week I come in here wanting to trash Trevor Lawrence and talk about how bad he is, but every week he's fucking injured in a different way.
Uh-huh.
Like, now he has a sprained AC joint.
Which he already had. Is it on the same leg that was already fucked up?
I don't know. I feel like the last 4 weeks there's been a different injury that has popped up, and this is just a new one I'm hearing about. So it may still be the same one.
Yeah.
They're just talking about it again.
See, and when he did get hurt, it was almost like just sit him out, man.
Mm-hmm.
I think having him play, was almost a detriment.
They're trying to hold on to that playoff spot.
I get it, but you had a little bit of a cushion. You could have
Mm-hmm.
sat him for at least 2 weeks to let at least somewhat get better.
And then Stroud going down, there's absolutely no reason that you didn't sit him.
Exactly. Oh, the Pistons are losing now, so we're on track.
Oh,
Good
darn.
job.
Damn it! I wish I'd made that. I wish I'd made that live bet.
No, I think it was a detriment to that team, and now you're kind of seeing that play out.
Mm-hmm. But I think that team also saw what it was going to look like with C.J. Beathard playing, and it was not good.
I mean, but I think in the long run it would have been the best decision to do that because maybe he has a game where he balls out and he actually does game manages and you get a dub.
Be.
We've seen it this entire season where a backup quarterback comes in and they win. That team wins.
I'm also, and I think we've all talked about this, I do think Trevor Lawrence is overrated. I don't think he's the quarterback that everybody wants him or wants to think he is.
Like, obviously, we've talked about Trevor Lawrence quite a bit on this show, and from everything from he had Herb as his first head coach to like where he's at now, and I kind of am leaning toward your thinking on this, Frank, and especially where he was picked. And again, it's not his fault that he was picked there,
Right.
but he's not necessarily living up to that billing. He isn't,
And it's
and
not
I don't
that
know.
he's a bad quarterback.
No, I'm not
by
saying he's a
any
bad
means.
quarterback in the slightest. I don't see him being that elite guy.
Yeah, he's not
I
the
don't.
guy.
I don't see it. Like he'll be a good solid quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
He can win you some games, but he's not that elite guy. That
I don't think any of us really know what he is at this point.
and that's the thing because again we've talked about him quite a bit on the show and nobody's had a definite this is what he is.
Well, and you saw so you've seen flashes of this guy's a bust. Then
Right.
Then you've seen flashes of damn, this guy's fucking really, really good.
Yeah.
Right.
And then now you see in between those, you see, all right. I mean, he's good, but he's not great.
I think that's what I think
like. It's last year that playoff game.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was his
coming out
party.
Yeah. I think everybody thought that.
It was like, God damn, all right.
This is the Trevor Lawrence that they
put
thought
it
they were
together,
getting.
right?
Yes.
And then again, you see both ends of the spectrum, and then you see the in the middle portion of it, and you're like, what the fuck is this guy? What is he? But about that game, can we not gloss over the fact that Baker Mayfield had another really good fucking game and is leading Tampa Bay to win a division that nobody gave them a fucking chance to win?
You'll be the first. I'll be the first one to bash Baker Mayfield, but I'll be the first to give him praise when he does well, and he has. He's actually had a really good season this year.
I want to look at Tampa Bay and be like, fucking smart. Everyone cast them aside. They were like, they lost Tom Brady, they lost Leonard Fournette, right? Nobody believed in Rashid White, and then they signed Baker Mayfield to a contract that they're not paying him a ton of money.
Eric.
They're not paying him a ton of money. Mid.
I think he's talking about the Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence, yeah.
Mid.
But like they signed Baker Mayfield to a contract that doesn't break the bank for them at quarterback, but yet they're getting very good production out of that position for what they signed him to. It's fucking smart. And they're going to end up winning that fucking division.
It was a low risk, high reward situation.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely it was.
And that's what you got to hope for, especially at quarterback. If you can get a situation like that, you can build one hell of a team around them.
In the situation where they were in, where they lost Tom Brady, right? And then they were losing a couple other guys, and basically everyone was like, they're not going to be anything. They go and they sign Baker, and it's like everyone's like, okay, all right, that's good for you. But, again, he's good enough to take a team with talent and do something with them, which is what my thing with him all along was. Never once said he was going to be Peyton Manning. He was good enough to win with a team that had talent.
I would take him over Trevor Lawrence right now. In a
I
heartbeat.
I absolutely would at this point.
I'd take him over Aiden O'Connell with the Raiders.
Dude,
okay, that's an insult.
I think I take Nick Mullins over him, to be honest with you.
You would take Nick Mullins over Aiden O'Connell?
No, I would take Aiden O'Connell over him. But
I was going to say, he looks competent like twice a year.
Yeah.
Nick Mullins doesn't even look competent twice a year.
No.
Aiden O'Connell looked really good against the Chargers.
I mean, what does that say?
Yeah.
You and I could probably look good against the Chargers, but still.
3 games before that, he looked like garbage. The game after that, he looked like garbage.
Whatever.
But when the Chargers wanted to get their coach fired, he looked amazing.
Yeah.
Of course.
Chargers were like, ole.
Oh, I tried.
Yes.
Oh, damn it, I missed.
Damn, he completed another one. Oh, damn it. You got away from me.
That's a shame. One more I want to hit on is the Cowboys-Dolphins game. What do you even take out of that game? Like, it was shitty weather.
Yeah.
And just watching it, the one thing I did take out of it is Mike McCarthy, once again, being an idiot that last drive. Just let him score.
Yeah.
Let him score.
The one thing I take out of this is, to me, it may, if I'm a Miami fan, it makes me a little bit happy that they pulled out a gritty, gutty win like this.
Yeah.
Bad weather, good Dallas team coming in. And one of the NFC's better teams at this point. I think they gutted out a win, and I think if I'm a Miami fan, I think that is a positive for me.
Right.
I don't think there was much positive to come out of that game. Other than that, I think you can be positive about that if you're a Miami fan.
I want to see a Hard Knocks episode about that week. I don't know if it's still going on or not. Is it still going on?
I saw a commercial for it yesterday.
So with this current week, the Dallas game, I want to see how they talk about it. I want to see what they think they took from it. Just because I don't see much there. It wasn't a game worth, not as an insult to us, but I don't think it was a game worth talking about. Like, it just was uneventful.
It was a hard fought, gritty, tough game.
Yeah.
Where it was just like, it wasn't one of those up and down the field, you're going to try to outscore the other team, whoever has the football last is going to win. It was one of those games where a little bit of strategy came into it from the coaching aspect of it. and you really had to. It was almost a game of chess, really. You know what I mean?
That's perfect for it.
And it was, and the team that won is the team that I would expect to win in that scenario because I can't stand Mike McCarthy, and I think McDaniel's a better strategist.
I think
in
he's
that
a great
situation.
coach.
I do too. I love the guy. I'm a huge fan of the guy.
Like I think if it was better weather during that game, I think it would have been more of a shootout type game.
I agree.
Not like crazy shootout. But
No, but it would have been
a significantly better game.
It would have been better offense and flashier.
It would have been, and I'm not saying that the outcome would have been different because, frankly, again, Mike McCarthy is a fucking idiot, and he would have done something stupid to lose him that game.
And if he didn't, Dak would have.
Or if he didn't, then Dak would have. But I'm saying, that last drive, like I'm like, dude, just let him score. Like, what do you do? They're already in field goal range. Like, so you're gonna stop them, then they're at like the 10-yard line, like, and you're gonna use all your timeouts, and now you're fucked.
Congrats.
Good job, dummy.
This just in, Amari Cooper just had another 20-yard catch. Just letting you.
It's a fucking Tuesday night. He's sitting on the couch.
He just caught.
Had to grab 20 yards.
He just caught another 20-yard catch.
Well, good for
In
him.
other news, he actually is part owner of the Houston Texans now.
Hey, all right. What
Is
do
it
you
on his
go out? What do you go
Wikipedia
out for?
page?
Like three something?
He had 200 and. Let me see the
I think he
exact.
went off
Let
for
me see
three
the
something,
exact
didn't
stats. 265.
65, yeah.
265 yards and 2 touchdowns and
Jesus.
11 catches.
He's had one of those games each place he's been.
Amari Cooper is to the Browns what.
Amari Cooper was to the Raiders.
No, because he definitely is better than what he was on the Raiders. And I really believe he's the same as he was on Dallas because he put together some really good games in Dallas. Amari Cooper is what Odell Beckham was supposed to be in Cleveland. That was who Odell Beckham was supposed to be. He was supposed to be this guy. And even though Amari doesn't have like 265 yards every game,
Right.
he has these games. He can take over a game. He's a guy who could make the tough contested catches. He runs good routes. Like he was who Cleveland wanted to sign when they signed Odell.
He's your savvy veteran that is going to get You're going to
Right.
get production out of him.
Yep. And with Chubb being down, and you're relying on Jerome Ford at running back, who is a rookie, and you're relying on Kareem Hunt, who is well past what he was in his prime. You're relying on those two at running back when you lose Nick Chubb. He is the perfect guy to help out a guy like Joe Flacco, who's coming off the couch to come help you try to make the playoffs. I mean, he's the perfect guy for that team, truthfully, at this point in his career.
Right.
And he just caught another pass, too.
And overall, it was another excellent week for officiating, as we've seen.
Every week.
Good Lord, man. Some of these, and it's not even just like one type of penalty. It's just penalty, but they are calling that offensive offside more. You know,
They are, and I like that. Good, call it. It's the ones where I think they should have been calling it all along are the ones where the fucking guard is lined up to where his helmet is ahead of the center.
Yeah.
What the fuck, man? When
When the tackle's head is behind the center's ass.
right? Yeah, that's it. That too. Yeah,
that's a big one. Yeah.
But like a couple calls in last night's game that I didn't like. There was, if you make calls consistently for both sides, no matter what the calls are, I'm never going to really argue it. Me personally, if you are consistent with your play, with your officiating, I may think you should have made a call here or there, but if you're consistent with it, cool, great. You're being consistent. You're seeing it, and you're either deciding not to call it, or you're seeing it and you're calling it every time. One or the other.
Not like the offensive offsides that they call once a game just because they need to call it once a game.
Or the pass interference where the guy, like there was one last night, I think it was one of the first drives for San Francisco where, was it Juszczyk got chucked in the middle of the field. He ran a crossing route, just got demolished before the ball was even near his hands. No call. A little bit later in the game, Baltimore's receiver, same exact play almost the same exact, cutting across the field, slant route or a cross route, gets hit before the ball gets there, flag comes out. I mean, be consistent, man. You can't tell me you didn't see the one earlier, which was which was clearly blatant, as blatant as this one. If I'm sitting at home and can see both of them exactly the same way, you're on the field. You can't tell me you can't see that. Like, just call everything consistently. If you're gonna give them a little leeway on getting to the receiver early, then do it the whole game. Give them leeway on getting the receiver early. If you hit him a little bit early, you don't care. Great, you're not gonna make the fucking call then. But don't not make the call here and then make it here later on in the game. And again, put yourself in a position to determine an outcome of a game more than you should. Right. You're an official. You're a referee. Don't fucking determine the game in your hands. Call it even. There's been across the board.
A lot of that this year.
There has.
A lot of that this year, which it shouldn't be the case at all.
No.
I'm still enjoying the shit out of these roughing the passer calls.
Oh my!
Like the one in the Minnesota Detroit game,
dude. I
head to shoulder, fucking the only place you're allowed to hit a quarterback anymore. It was a prime hit on a quarterback.
I'm like, well, if he goes low, he's gonna get flagged.
Yep.
If he hits him where he hit him, flag, obviously. And if you hit him in the midsection and land on him, flag and a fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
What the fuck is he supposed to do? And of course,
what's that call? You're not allowed to land with your weight on top of what is that?
You're
call?
supposed to try to go off to the side.
And of course, I'm reading Lions Twitter, and they're like, "Oh, it was a great call." I'm like, "No, it wasn't a great call. Take off your fucking Honolulu blue glasses and look at it logistically. Because if that was reversed, you'd have lost your shit.
You'd been fucking furious.
You'd have lost your shit. You'd said, "Oh, the NFL's against us." Blah blah blah. Bullshit. That was not. That was a clean hit. I'm sorry, it was.
Yep.
Well, what is a clean hit on a quarterback anymore?
Nobody knows.
No,
it's just like nobody knows what a catch is.
I mean, I think at this point we've defined a catch more than we have what's roughing.
Nobody knows what targeting is.
Well, that's a good one. That's a good one. But like at this point, I think we know what a catch is more than we know what fucking roughing the passer is.
It's a judgment call, and I hate judgment calls for that reason.
Same. At this point in time, just put them in a tutu.
Yeah.
And put some flags on their little waists, and that's it. You can't hit a quarterback ever.
Just put them all in red jerseys.
Grab the flag. You got to grab the flag. If you don't get the flag, they're not tackled.
At this point,
once they cross the line of scrimmage, then you can hit them.
I think it's coming to that, though. I really do, because I mean, you saw Micah Parsons when he flipped out about it.
Basically, they're going to turn quarterbacks into the goalies of what NHL is. There's going to be a certain area you can't touch them in. Mm-hmm. If they're outside that area, fair game.
If they're in the box,
if they're in that area, you can't touch them.
And when that happens, I will quit watching football.
I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I probably will too.
I will quit
that's
watching
ridiculous.
Football.
That's not football.
That's not. It's not football at all.
You might as well just have an all-time quarterback out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're playing quarterback for both teams today. Yeah. Nobody's going to touch you, so don't worry about it. You'll be all right. It's fucking stupid.
Yep.
It's how hockey's getting. Youth hockey, especially. My brother, I was telling you, my brother coaches a high school team with youth hockey.
Yeah.
They're no longer allowed to finish.
Make-A-Wish kid, right?
They're no longer allowed to finish checks in high school.
Wait,
hockey.
what?
If the guy gets rid of the puck, you have to peel off. You cannot finish your check.
And this is why you're seeing this in the NHL now. Wow. Like, guys don't know how to take hits anymore.
Yeah.
And this is why you're seeing these injuries. And this is, like, they'll peel and they'll turn and have the back to the guy. Mm-hmm. And then they get plastered in the boards.
Yep.
Because they don't know how to absorb a hit.
Mm-hmm.
It's bad. It's really bad. And people are like, no, it's for the good of the game. No, it isn't.
There's nothing good about that.
There's nothing good about that, because one of these times he's actually going to get plastered in the boards from behind, and he's going to break his neck because he doesn't know how to absorb a hit.
I don't know if we said it on this show or if I heard it somewhere else, but it's literally the pussification of the sport.
It is. I mean, like, you look at the QMJHL. They eliminated fighting.
Yeah.
Eliminated it.
Well, one of the leagues just eliminated handshakes.
I did see that. I forgot what league it was, but I did see
that.
They're
beating the shit out of each other every handshake line, so they eliminated it. It's like, no, be an adult. Understand that even if you beat the shit out of each other all game, you shake hands after it's done.
Yeah.
Like, that's the honor that's always been in hockey.
Right, and you see these videos on Instagram and all this shit all the time about, players, like, hitting referees with sticks and shit like that. It's like, where the hell did we go wrong here? Like, what happened?
I mean, don't get me wrong. There were plenty of times I wanted to hit a ref with my stick.
Same here.
But you don't fucking do it.
You don't do that. As pissed off as you are, and I get it, because some refs they're assholes and they just make shitty calls.
Yep.
You can't do that.
You can't let that shit happen.
Exactly.
You can't.
Yes. Like that should be I'm sorry, if you do that, And but what about a second chance? No, you don't get a second chance.
No.
For that. Not for me anyway.
Gone, done. See you later.
Yeah, that's that's not something you should do. And I don't know where this started taking place or when the shit started happening, but it's absurd now.
It's been the last few, I don't want to say generations, because I know in my generation, your generation, it was the standard game of hockey still.
Yeah.
But very slowly after us, it became like a soft game.
Yeah.
You weren't allowed to do certain things. And then this year specifically, at least high school hockey, they took out finishing your check.
I can't believe that.
Which you're more likely to get hurt trying to avoid checking a guy than you are hurting somebody by finishing the check.
Agreed. That's absurd to me.
Yeah, my brother told us that over Christmas, and I was about to lose my fucking mind.
That might be the point if I was coaching and that was the case. Of like, you know what, I'm done. I don't want to do
and
this
that's
anymore.
what he said. He's like, it's not that he's going to quit or anything, but what the fuck am I supposed to tell these kids to do? Like, we've been teaching them for 2 years, finish your checks. Now all of a sudden I'm supposed to teach them how to avoid it? Like, nobody's ever played that sport before.
Nope.
There's no way to know how to do that.
And now you see it in the NHL when, like, a guy is skating down the middle of the ice and he gets, just absolutely crushed.
Paul Kariya.
Exactly. And people all act, people get up in arms about it now. It's like, oh, that was a dirty hit. No, it wasn't a dirty hit. It's just you don't see it anymore.
Right.
That's why you think it's dirty. That's because these kids now they can skate through the middle of the ice with their head down and not have to fucking worry about it. They can skate along the boards with their head down and not have to fucking worry about it.
I was talking to Andrew about this over the weekend. This Michigan move.
I can't wait till a goalie comes out and just fucking
crushes
one of these dudes with his
Somebody has
blocker.
to take somebody's fucking head off when they try this.
I'm telling you.
Like, great move. It was cool when it happened the first time. Sure, doing it a second time 20 years later was cool, but what the fuck are we doing? Like, this isn't lacrosse.
I mean, sometimes it actually is the smart hockey play, and I get that.
Sometimes it is. What Bedard did, I thought, was the smart play.
Even when Zegras just did it, that was legit.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. But I'm just waiting until a goalie sees it start to happen and just drops his stick and just punches him with his blocker. I can't wait till that happens. It's going to be great.
We totally hijacked the show for hockey talk. So
I'm fine with that. we talked a lot of NFL. I'm fine with this. But yeah, it's just, and they talk about it like on chick lists and stuff like that, just how the game has become so, it's called what it is. It's soft. Even Tortorella, I love what Tortorella said about the game. He's 100% right. I absolutely agree with him.
How he's still a coach in this version of the game, I'll never understand.
Like what he's doing with this Flyers team right now, dude.
Well, to me,
amazing.
I figured he would have got Babcocked a long time.
To me, hockey has followed the path of society.
It has.
Yeah, 100%.
I think every sport has.
To a degree, I think hockey has, like, it's on the same fucking path as society, right? Like, because hockey was always a brutal sport, right? Even more so than football.
Yeah.
Hockey was a brutal sport. Like, you literally had guys out there that were there just to beat the shit out of other guys that roughed up your players.
Yes.
Like, that was what it was.
Yeah.
I would have never played hockey if it wasn't for that role. Like, in all honesty, I wouldn't have.
But
I wouldn't have had a spot on a team.
That's the hockey we loved.
Right.
Right? But the pussification of society has equaled the pussification of the NHL.
Right.
Like,
And of hockey.
Don't get me wrong.
It's basically become figure skaters with hockey sticks.
Like, I love watching the skill in the game right as it is right now. I don't know if there's ever been more skill in the game ever. However, I think that's a product of, as we were saying, a soft game.
Yeah.
Because guys know they're not going to get hit.
You have
you got all the skill in the world. That's great. But you know you're not going to get hit. And if you do get hit, you're going to be on a 5-minute power play.
But it's also why Larkin gets knocked unconscious, because the guy knows he doesn't have to answer to anybody for
Exactly.
it.
Right.
Exactly.
And there's more leeway in the game. There's more room to make these great plays and these great moves because the whole center of the ice is open up because there's more room because it's a game of it's not a physical game anymore. Nope. Like if you were to try to make those moves back in the day, you were getting your lights knocked out across the middle of the ice. That's not happening anymore.
There was a goal, it was Bedard, maybe a week or two ago. He pulled it real quick, put it right between the guy's legs, put it top shelf. Beautiful goal. In our sport, in the sport we grew up watching, his head would have been taken off at center ice. He would never made it that far.
Not happening.
That's what I'm saying. You can skate through the middle of the ice and not have to worry about it anymore.
Like, the move was beautiful. The goal was beautiful.
Right.
Not to take anything away from it.
In today's game, that was beautiful.
Right.
In yesterday's game, that doesn't happen.
But you pull that shit against Scott Stevens,
Night.
you're dead.
Yep. Night. And it's a shame because it's just going to keep going down this path. And I'll say it, you guys know hockey's my favorite sport, but it's getting to the point where if it's going to continue like this, and I think it will, yeah, it's like, okay, like it's not going to be, quote, appointment viewing for me anymore.
No.
You know?
The second checking is eliminated, the second tackling is eliminated. Sports and I are
like, okay.
on a break.
Like baseball's getting to that point where like stupid fucking rules are implementing. It's like, no, this isn't baseball. Stop. Well, that's a argument.
Starting off extra innings with a guy on second.
It's not baseball.
Ghost man on first.
Yeah, what
are we doing here?
What are we coaching Little League right now?
So
Hey,
dumb.
no, let's just start him off on second base. It's fine.
We need to speed the game up, so we're just going to give you a double.
Yeah. And then they just changed the pitch clock again to make it shorter, from 20 seconds to 18 seconds.
Did they really?
Yes.
I still can't decide if I like that pitch clock or don't. I mean, I wasn't a person who thought the game needed to be sped up.
Same here, but I can understand why.
Some pitchers took a really
really long fucking time.
I understood it, and I was okay with it in the simple fact that there was too many guys that were taking liberties with.
Yeah.
Dude, you don't have to step out of the batter's box every pitch and readjust your gloves,
like Nomar?
Readjust your dick,
Yeah.
and then you know what I mean. Like you don't have to do all that every single time a pitch is thrown. And with pitchers the same way. You don't have to do that, man. I understood the thought behind it, but like speeding up the clock and making it a shorter clock now, why are we doing that? What the fuck is the matter? Like, are we trying to get these games done in 2 hours now? What the fuck?
Andrew made a good point. He said, imagine Datsuk in this era, in this NHL.
Yeah.
Dude, he'd have 100 goals a season.
He would dominate in this era. He would.
Yeah. Yeah, he really would.
He'd be put up 140, probably 130, 140 points a year. He would, absolutely.
God, now that you say that, I wish we could watch Datsuk in this era.
And like you're seeing it now. Now guys are like routinely scoring 60 goals.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I can see Matthews hitting 70 this year. And I'd be shocked if he didn't hit 70 this year.
Andrew says pitch clock is great. The limit on throwing to first with runners is a joke. See, and I don't agree with the pitch clock is great. I think I'm okay with it. I think I saw the need for it, and I do agree with the fact that the limiting on throwing to a base
that's absurd to me because to me that takes away from the integrity. Of the
does.
game.
It absolutely does.
How many times can you throw?
Like three.
Three?
Yeah.
Okay, so on the fourth time, this guy can have a
This
fucking
guy-
lead off halfway
Right.
to second base if he wants
This
to.
guy
because you
can
can't
literally
throw.
just lead off all the way to fucking the next base because he knows you cannot throw over there.
Such a fucking jack off rule.
It really is.
Yeah.
Again, that's not baseball.
No,
That's
not.
really taking away the integrity of the game. You know. But Rob Manfred, genius. Idiot. Anyways, that's all I got on that. So.
Well, going from an idiot to an actual genius, or genius is.
Whether you're buying or selling your home, now is the time to take advantage of having the expertise of 4 real estate agents for the price of 1 on your side. Make the right move with the Wright Group, the Joe Wright Group. Give Craig Joe Wright, Mike Bush, Shane Wilson, and Alex DeRocher a call today at 248-535-4750 to fulfill all your real estate needs.
Yeah.
Nicely done. Good job, buddy.
I was even giving you pauses to put the yes in the middle of it.
I didn't want to fuck with
He
either
didn't
one
do
today.
anything.
Okay.
He caught me off guard at the first, and I was gonna try to fuck with him. I was just too busy laughing. I was like, no, I'm not gonna fuck with you today. I'll let you do the read.
All right.
Good job, buddy.
Appreciate it. I can weed.
It's not his fault. He can't read.
Anything else you guys want to get into? You got anything?
No, not really. I got nothing.
Time for picks.
Time for the picks.
This segment is brought to you by the Joe Wright Group.
It's time!
All right, our week 17 of picks did not go very well for any of us, truthfully. A little better for me.
You're stupid.
Yeah, we were all kind of stupid, truthfully, within a certain realm. I went 11-10.
Oh shit! If you went 11,
Just mid. I went 11-10, and I was the winner.
Yeah,
of
that's
one game over 500.
That's a bad week.
Yep, I went 11-10 and was the winner for the week. That tells you the way the rest
That's a
of it
bad
went.
week.
Both you guys were 9 and 12, and Eric was 7 and 14.
Ouch!
Which means that you actually took the lead as far as wins total goes.
Yeah, all right.
You're 130,
All right.
121 and 6.
Okay.
Eric is 129, 122 and 6. I am 128, 123 and 6. We are all within two wins, the three of us.
All right.
But trying to figure out with Frank's, because Frank came in later in the season.
Yeah.
I wanted to actually figure out the win percentages. So Frank is leading at 107, 99 and 3. He has a 51.91% win percentage.
Okay.
So almost 52%. We are all within 1% of each other.
Nice.
Total.
All right.
You come in second at 51.75.
All right.
Eric is 51.36, and I am 50.97. So we are all four separated by less than 1% winning percentage.
That's not terrible.
It's
not great.
It's not what I expected when I started figuring it out. I mean, I was like, let me figure this out, and I figured I'd just do it based on after this week's.
Yeah.
And obviously this week's changed a little bit, but
mid.
yeah, I mean, we're all very, very, very mid.
Yes, 100%.
We're all just spectacularly mid.
Congratulations, guys. We're average.
We are spectacularly average.
Well, with that being said, let's move on to this week's picks. We're going to start off with Arizona laying 3, taking on Oklahoma in the Alamo Bowl. Joe, you and I took Arizona. Eric and Frank took Oklahoma.
I want my own ass.
Me too.
Me too.
Next up, we got Missouri taking on Ohio State. Ohio State's laying 1 in the Cotton Bowl. We all took Ohio State.
Hey, bro, you mind putting on some pants? I find it a little weird I have to ask twice.
Next up in the Peach Bowl, we have Mississippi taking on Penn State. Penn State's laying 3.5. I took Mississippi. Joe, you took Penn State. Actually, you three took Penn State. I took Mississippi.
You gonna fuck on me?
Next up, we have Georgia laying 16.5, taking on Florida State in the Orange Bowl. Joe, you and I took Florida State. Eric and Frank took Georgia.
Hey, Old Man River, zip it or I'll break your hip.
Next up, we have the Fiesta Bowl with Liberty taking on Oregon. Oregon is laying 17. I took Liberty. You guys all took Oregon.
He has a 5-year plan.
What is it? Don't die?
That's good.
All right!
Next up, we have one of the college football playoff games with Texas laying 4.5, taking on Washington in the Sugar Bowl. I took Washington. Joe, you three took Texas.
Well, the world needs ditch diggers, too.
Yes. And the other college football playoff game, Alabama taking on Michigan. Michigan's laying 2 in the Rose Bowl. I took Bama. Joe took Bama. Eric took Michigan. And Frank took Alabama.
It's not illegal. It's frowned upon, like masturbating on an airplane. Thanks a lot, Bin Laden.
I just love the way he delivers that. It's fucking funny.
It's one of my favorites. I love that.
Moving on to the NFL slate, we have the New York Jets taking on the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland is laying 7. We all took Cleveland.
It was in international water, so they couldn't prosecute him, but I saw it.
He's such an asshole in that movie. He really is.
Like Kobayashi.
Next up, we got the Patriots taking on the Bills. The Bills are laying 12. I somehow took Buffalo. I don't know why, but I did. Joe took Buffalo. Eric took New England. And Frank took Buffalo.
He just looks at his own pick. He's like, I fucking took Buffalo?
I meant to hit New England,
The
but
fuck did
whatever.
I do?
I wrote it as Buffalo, so, well, whatever.
The meatloaf!
Next up, we got, what could be one of the games of the weekend. We got the Dolphins taking on the Ravens. Baltimore's laying 3.5. I took the Dolphins. Joe took the Dolphins. Eric and Frank took the Ravens.
The price is wrong, bitch.
Pardon my French, but you're an asshole.
After that, we got the Saints taking on the Bucks. The Bucks are laying 3. I took New Orleans. What the fuck am I doing here? Seriously.
You took Derek Carr?
I did.
Why?
Joe also took Derek Carr. Eric took Tampa Bay, and you took Tampa Bay. So.
Take a big step back and literally fuck your own face!
I did these really quick, so I think that's what happened here. Usually I have time to do them, but I did not today. Next up, we have the Raiders taking on the Colts. Colts are laying 3. I took Indianapolis. Joe took Indianapolis. Eric took Las Vegas. And Frank, unsurprisingly, took Las Vegas.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
I'm sorry I brought that upon you guys.
Okay, a simple wrong was done just fine, but then...
Next up, we have Pittsburgh taking on Seattle. Seattle's laying 3.5. I took Pittsburgh. Joe took Pittsburgh. Eric took Seattle, and Frank took Seattle.
Shut up. I hate you. Stop it. Chris, you're making it hard. Sports on tap.
That's about where this episode is at right now.
Sports on tap.
That's right. Next up, we got Cincinnati taking on Kansas City. Kansas City's laying 7. I took Cincinnati. Joe took Cincinnati. Eric took Cincinnati. And Frank took Kansas City.
If we take a fucking tight end, I quit!
Well, aren't you happy they did this year?
This year? Yeah, that wasn't for this year,
right,
though.
Right.
Well, this is awkward.
Nice. Next up, we got Green Bay taking on Minnesota. Minnesota's laying 2.5. I took Green Bay. Joe took Green Bay. Eric took Green Bay. And Frank took Green Bay.
You got a little wiener and some tiny nuts.
Stop it, Chris. You're making it hard.
And the biggest game of the week, as always, the Detroit Lions taking on the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas is laying 6.5. We all took Detroit.
Never go for a retard. You was farting in bathtubs and laughing your ass off.
And those are the picks. Nice.
All right.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Mid.
It was very mid.
It's been a mid show.
It's been a very, very mid. We're just all spectacularly average.
Yeah.
At the show, at the picks.
In life.
Just in life, in general.
I think our show reflects our picks. Mid.
Very mid. Anything else, fellas?
No, sir.
No. All right. Give us a like, a share, and a follow on our social media like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. You can find all of our podcasts at your favorite podcast provider. As always, check out SOTDET.com. While you're there, click on shop, buy some Red Hooded sweatshirts. Frank?
Yes, please buy Red Hooded sweatshirts.
Oh, Andrew said our show is as good as Frank's Madden ability.
That's not very good.
Is it below? That's
below
mid.
Shit.
That's way below mid.
Wow. Fuck you, Andrew.
Fair enough.
Well, you know what? You're probably not wrong.
Like I told you, we were playing Madden before I showed up here.
Yeah.
And
it didn't go very well for you.
Between the 3 games we played, I probably threw about 16 interceptions.
Jesus.
Okay, then.
Andrew's a savant at user picks.
Oh.
So every time I make a fucking pass, even if my guy's wide open, his guy fucking teleports and gets it.
With Madden, I can truly believe that. Because that's
how it works.
Glitch.
Madden glitch.
Glitch.
We played one game earlier. Every time I'd go to throw the ball, he'd get an icon on his screen of what person I was throwing to.
Oh, okay.
Oh, all right. So he just ran everybody over to that guy. Cool.
I had Kyron Williams as my starting running back.
Yeah.
Didn't see a single snap. The
Okay.
game just wouldn't put him in. So it's like weird shit like that happens that I just... And then I fucking suck on top of it, so...
Oh. Well, you shouldn't suck on top of it.
You fuck on me!
You tried on me! You tried to fuck on me!
Take a big step back and literally fuck your own face!
While we're at it, check out SOTDET.com.
That's right.
Click on shop, buy some Red Hood sweatshirts or anything else that your heart desires, and support the show. SOTDET.com. Click on shop. On behalf of Chris and Frank and Eric from wherever he is right now, I'm Joe. We are Sports on Tap Detroit. See you next Tuesday.
And that is it for us today.
No! God, please, no!
Bye, have a great time.
No! God!
Bye, guys.
No, 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 no!
Bye, buddy.
No!
Goodbye.
No!
Goodbye.
No!
It's never goodbye.
Hey,
You know, we've been through our ups and been through our downs.
And you were meant to be here tonight.
You guys will always be in my heart.
Great moments are born
great opportunity.
I think the most important part is that we all stay together throughout.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Live. Fight like hell. The best thing I have ever done, the best thing I will ever do, is be a dad.
God, I love you guys. Mamba out.